Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Can we talk? Not text, not DM, not send a thumbs up emoji. I mean, really talk like we used to. Back when words carried weight, when a handshake meant something, when looking someone in the eye was a sign of respect, not confrontation. Somewhere along the way, we lost that. We traded deep conversations for quick replies. We stopped listening and started waiting for our turn to speak. We let screens replace souls, notifications replace real emotions, and now we wonder why we feel disconnected, even when we're more connected than ever. Listening, truly listening, is at the heart of effective communication. It is far more than the simple act of hearing words spoken. Hearing is passive. It occurs when sound waves hit the eardrum, allowing us to perceive the words, but it doesn't necessarily involve understanding or processing those words. Listening, on the other hand, is active, intentional, and deeply engaged. It requires focus, thoughtfulness, and the willingness to understand the speaker's message beyond just the words themselves. True listening opens the door to meaningful dialogue, trust, and mutual respect, while a failure to listen leaves gaps in communication that can lead to misunderstandings and fractured relationships. When someone speaks, they are not just transmitting words. They are expressing thoughts, emotions, and intentions. These elements often lie beneath the surface of the spoken words and are where the real meaning resides. Without active listening, this deeper layer of communication is missed. Too often, people listen with the intention of responding rather than understanding. They may be thinking about their own response while the other person is still talking, anticipating what they'll say next, or simply waiting for their turn to speak. This reactionary form of listening leads to missed opportunities for true connection. When we listen in this way, we are not hearing the message in its entirety, but instead filtering it through our own biases, judgments, and expectations. True listening involves giving the speaker the space to express themselves fully. It requires that we put aside our own thoughts, opinions, and distractions long enough to truly absorb what is being said. This doesn't mean we agree with everything the other person is saying, but it means we acknowledge their perspective, understand their feelings, and take their words seriously. To do this, we need to be fully present in the moment, putting away phones, computers, or any other distractions that may take our attention away from the conversation. We need to give the speaker our undivided attention, as this conveys respect and value for what they have to say. Listening with empathy is one of the key components of true listening. It's not just about processing the words, but about understanding the emotional undertones of what is being shared. When we listen empathetically, we don't just hear the words of the speaker, we also feel their emotions and grasp the underlying message. This type of listening requires that we pay attention to body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions, all of which are integral to understanding the full meaning of a message. A person may say, "I'm fine," but their posture, tone, and facial expression may reveal otherwise. To truly listen, we must tune in to these subtle cues and respond accordingly. By doing so, we communicate that we understand not only the words, but the emotional experience behind them. Listening also involves asking questions to clarify what the speaker is saying, demonstrating that we are engaged and invested in understanding their point of view. Sometimes words alone aren't enough to convey the full meaning, and probing questions can help uncover the deeper layers of the message. For example, asking, "How did that make you feel?" or "Can you explain what you mean by that?" invites the speaker to open up further, while showing that we are truly paying attention to what they are saying. These questions can help us understand the nuances of their perspective and foster a deeper connection in the conversation. Active listening requires patience. In a world that values quick responses and instant gratification, we are often in a rush to move through conversations and get to the point. We interrupt, cut people off, or try to finish their sentences for them, all in an attempt to save time or to make ourselves heard. But true listening demands patience. It requires us to sit with the speaker's words, allowing them to finish their thoughts before we respond. This patience shows that we respect the speaker's voice and that we value what they have to say, regardless of how long it takes for them to express it. It is important to give the speaker the time they need to fully express themselves, without fear of being interrupted or rushed. Listening is also about recognizing that each person brings their own unique experiences, emotions, and perspectives to the conversation. People communicate not only through words, but through the lens of their own life stories. By truly listening, we acknowledge that the other person's experience is valid, even if it differs from our own. This respect for different perspectives is what fosters understanding and empathy between individuals. It's easy to become defensive when someone shares an opinion or experience that conflicts with our own. But true listening requires the ability to hear without judgment, to remain open to new ideas, and to accept that others may see the world in ways we don't fully understand. Furthermore, true listening contributes to the creation of safe spaces where individuals feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. When people feel heard, they are more likely to open up, express themselves honestly, and share vulnerable aspects of their lives. This fosters trust, which is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional. When we listen with the intention of truly understanding, we communicate to the other person that their voice matters, and this strengthens the bond between us. In contrast, when people feel ignored or misunderstood, they may withdraw or become defensive, creating barriers to further communication and deepening the divide between individuals. In a professional context, the importance of listening cannot be overstated. Effective communication is key to successful teamwork, leadership, and problem solving. Leaders who listen actively to their team members are able to identify issues early, address concerns, and build a culture of trust and respect. When employees feel that their opinions are valued and their voices are heard, they are more likely to contribute ideas, collaborate, and engage fully in their work. Listening is also essential in conflict resolution. When people are in conflict, they often feel as though they are not being understood. A willingness to listen, truly listen, can diffuse tension, help identify the root cause of the problem, and facilitate a resolution that satisfies everyone involved. The simple act of listening has the power to transform conversations, relationships, and even communities. It builds bridges, fosters mutual understanding, and creates a foundation of trust. True listening is a skill that requires practice and conscious effort, but it is one that pays dividends in all areas of life. Without it, communication becomes shallow, disconnected, and ineffective. With it, however, we can unlock the full potential of human connection, allowing us to understand one another more deeply and navigate the complexities of life with greater empathy and understanding. Real, heartfelt conversations hold a power that cannot be replicated by surface-level exchanges. In a world where communication has been reduced to quick texts, emojis, and fleeting social media interactions, the depth and sincerity of genuine conversations have become a rarity. Yet, these meaningful dialogues are what truly shape our relationships, our understanding of one another, and ultimately, our sense of connection to the world around us. When people engage in heartfelt conversations, they open themselves up in ways that go beyond the mere exchange of words. They share their emotions, their experiences, and their perspectives with an authenticity that fosters trust and understanding. Unlike superficial interactions where the goal is often to maintain social decorum or to fill silence with small talk, real conversations delve into the essence of who we are. They challenge us, inspire us, and sometimes even heal us. The act of truly engaging with another person, listening to their thoughts, responding with empathy, and being present in the moment creates a space where both individuals feel seen and valued. Superficial interactions, on the other hand, serve a different purpose. They are transactional, meant to keep conversations light and easy. While there is nothing inherently wrong with casual exchanges, they often lack depth and emotional significance. A polite "how are you" exchanged in passing rarely invites an honest response. Instead, it has become a reflex, a social script that people follow without expecting or offering genuine engagement. When conversations are limited to this level, they fail to build real connections. They may maintain civility, but they do not foster relationships that withstand time and adversity. A heartfelt conversation requires a willingness to be vulnerable. It is easy to talk about the weather or current events, but it takes courage to open up about personal struggles, fears, dreams, and aspirations. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, but in reality, it is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It is through vulnerability that people form meaningful bonds as they reveal their true selves without fear of judgment. When someone speaks openly about their challenges and is met with understanding rather than dismissal, they experience a level of connection that cannot be achieved through surface-level exchanges. The value of genuine conversations also lies in their ability to create deeper understanding between people. In a world where differences often lead to division, taking the time to truly listen to someone else's perspective can be transformative. When individuals engage in thoughtful discussions, they learn not only about each other, but also about themselves. They begin to see the world through another person's eyes, which fosters empathy and broadens their own perspective. This is especially important in times of disagreement. When people limit their conversations to superficial interactions, they miss the opportunity to challenge their own beliefs and grow from the exchange. But when they engage in meaningful dialogue, they create room for mutual respect and the possibility of finding common ground. Heartfelt conversations also provide emotional nourishment. Life is filled with challenges, and at times people feel isolated in their struggles. Having someone to talk to, someone who truly listens and understands, can make all the difference. A deep conversation has the power to lighten emotional burdens, offer new insights, and remind individuals that they are not alone. This is why people often find comfort in long talks with close friends or family members. The act of sharing one's thoughts and emotions in a safe space brings a sense of relief and reassurance that cannot be found in superficial exchanges. Technology has made communication more convenient, but it has also contributed to the decline of meaningful conversations. Social media and instant messaging have made it easier than ever to stay in touch, yet many people feel more disconnected than before. A text message cannot convey the same depth of emotion as a face-to-face conversation. Online interactions often prioritize speed and brevity over thoughtfulness, leading to misunderstandings and shallow connections. While technology is a useful tool, it should not replace real conversations. There is a significant difference between scrolling through someone's social media updates and sitting down with them for an honest discussion about their life. The art of real conversation also involves active listening. Too often, people listen only to respond rather than to understand. They wait for their turn to speak instead of truly absorbing what the other person is saying. Active listening requires presence, patience, and empathy. It means giving someone undivided attention, acknowledging their words, and responding in a way that shows genuine interest. When people feel heard, they feel valued, and when they feel valued, they are more likely to open up and engage in deeper, more meaningful conversations. Children, in particular, benefit from genuine conversations. In a fast-paced world where parents are often distracted by work, responsibilities, and digital devices, taking the time to have heartfelt discussions with children is crucial. These conversations help children develop emotional intelligence, self-confidence, and a sense of belonging. When parents engage in meaningful talks with their children, asking about their thoughts, feelings, and experiences, they create an environment where open communication is encouraged. This foundation of trust and understanding carries into adulthood, shaping how individuals approach relationships and conversations throughout their lives. In professional settings, genuine conversations can also lead to greater collaboration and innovation. When colleagues engage in meaningful discussions rather than just exchanging surface-level pleasantries, they build stronger working relationships. Trust and transparency are essential in any team dynamic, and these qualities can only be established through honest and open dialogue. Leaders who take the time to have real conversations with their teams create a workplace culture where employees feel heard and valued. This, in turn, fosters productivity, creativity, and overall job satisfaction. At its core, the value of real conversations lies in the human need for connection. People are social beings who crave understanding, validation, and meaningful interactions. While superficial exchanges may keep interactions polite and easy, they do not fulfill the deeper need for genuine human connection. Real conversations challenge the mind, touch the heart, and leave a lasting impact. They remind people that beyond the noise of daily life, beyond the distractions of technology and the busyness of routines, the most valuable moments come from simply sitting down with another person and truly talking. Technology was once heralded as a tool that would connect us in ways never before possible. a bridge that would span the globe and bring us closer together. It promised to eliminate the distance between people, to allow for seamless communication, no matter where we were or how far apart we lived. But in many ways, technology has created barriers instead of bridges in our relationships. While it has certainly made communication more convenient and efficient, it has also transformed the nature of our interactions in ways that have led to disconnection, misunderstanding, and a sense of isolation. One of the most significant ways that technology has created barriers in relationships is by replacing face-to-face communication with digital interactions. In the past, when people communicated in person, there was an immediacy to the exchange, an energy that passed between them as they shared not just words, but facial expressions, body language, and tone. These nonverbal cues made it easier to understand each other, to empathize with one another, and to navigate the complexities of conversation. With the rise of texting, social media, and instant messaging, however, much of this nuanced communication has been stripped away. Words alone, without the context provided by physical presence, can be easily misunderstood, and tone can be lost in translation. What was once a clear face-to-face conversation has been reduced to a series of typed messages that often fail to capture the full emotional context of what is being shared. As a result, miscommunication has become more prevalent, and the depth of connection between people has diminished. Even more concerning is the impact technology has had on the way we listen to each other. In the past, people had to be present in the moment to truly engage in a conversation. But with the advent of smartphones and constant digital notifications, we now find ourselves multitasking while communicating. How often have we been in a conversation only to see the other person's attention drift to their phone, checking messages or scrolling through social media rather than fully engaging with what we are saying? This distraction not only undermines the quality of the conversation, but also communicates a lack of value and respect. The act of being present in a conversation is essential for building trust and understanding. But technology encourages us to split our attention and engage with multiple conversations at once. As a result, we often miss the opportunity to truly connect with others, and our relationships suffer as a consequence. Social media, in particular, has contributed to the erosion of meaningful relationships by creating an illusion of connection that is in reality quite shallow. While platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter allow us to stay in touch with a wide network of people, these interactions are often superficial at best. We like posts, share pictures, and comment on status updates, but how many of us can honestly say that these interactions lead to deeper connections? Social media platforms prioritize quantity over quality, encouraging us to amass friends, followers, and connections rather than fostering meaningful one-on-one relationships. The result is a constant stream of information that, rather than bringing us closer to the people we care about, leaves us feeling more isolated and disconnected. These digital friendships often lack the depth and emotional richness of real-life relationships, where vulnerability, empathy, and shared experiences form the foundation of connection. Moreover, social media can distort the way we present ourselves to others, creating a false sense of intimacy. People often curate their online personas, posting only the best aspects of their lives, carefully selected photos, filtered moments, and success stories. This selective sharing creates a distorted image of reality, one that doesn't reflect the full spectrum of human experience. As a result, we are left comparing our behind-the-scenes lives with the polished, idealized versions of others, leading to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and loneliness. This disconnect between our online personas and our true selves can prevent us from forming authentic relationships and create a sense of emotional isolation, even in the presence of a large online following. The rise of texting and instant messaging has also transformed the way we communicate emotionally. While these platforms offer convenience, they can strip away the emotional richness that comes with in-person or even voice-to-voice communication. Text messages are often brief and lack the nuance of tone and inflection that we rely on to understand each other's feelings. A message that may seem neutral in text form can be interpreted as cold or dismissive, while an emotionally charged message may come across as overly dramatic. Without the ability to hear a person's voice or see their facial expressions, it becomes more difficult to gauge the emotional weight of a message. As a result, we may respond in ways that fail to address the speaker's emotional needs, or worse, unintentionally hurt someone's feelings by misinterpreting their message. Perhaps one of the most insidious ways that technology has created barriers in our relationships is by fostering a sense of loneliness and isolation. While we may be more connected than ever, studies have shown that many people feel more lonely in the digital age. Technology has made it easier to stay in touch with others, but it has also replaced face-to-face interactions with digital exchanges that can leave us feeling empty. The rise of online dating, for example, has created a new way for people to meet potential partners, but it has also led to a shift in the way we approach relationships. Instead of meeting in person, having spontaneous conversations and forming natural connections, we now swipe left or right based on a few photos and a brief bio. This transactional approach to dating can make it harder to form genuine connections, as we reduce potential relationships to a series of superficial judgments based on appearance and quick impressions. In the workplace, technology has also introduced barriers to communication and collaboration. Email, instant messaging, and video conferencing have become the norm in many professional settings, yet these tools often hinder meaningful conversation. While they allow for quick exchanges of information, they lack the depth and clarity of in-person meetings, where ideas can be fully explored, questions can be asked in real time, and misunderstandings can be immediately addressed. In virtual environments, it's easier to hide behind a screen, to avoid tough conversations, and to miss out on the informal moments of connection that happen in physical spaces. As a result, teams can become fragmented, and colleagues can feel distanced from one another, despite being in constant contact through digital means. Ultimately, technology, while undoubtedly beneficial in many ways, has created barriers in our relationships by diminishing the quality of our communication, fostering superficial connections, and promoting a sense of isolation. What was meant to bring us closer together has, in many instances, done the opposite. The challenge now is to find a way to balance the convenience of digital communication with the richness of face-to-face interaction, to use technology as a tool for connection without allowing it to replace the depth and authenticity of human relationships. Open, honest communication is the cornerstone of any strong, healthy relationship, whether personal, professional, or otherwise. It is the bedrock upon which trust is built, and without trust, no relationship can truly thrive. Trust is not something that can be given freely. It must be earned and nurtured over time, and the most effective way to do so is through open, honest dialogue. When people communicate openly and honestly, they not only share their thoughts, but also create a space for vulnerability, understanding, and emotional connection. This exchange allows both parties to feel heard, respected, and valued, which in turn strengthens the foundation of trust that holds the relationship together. The act of communicating openly is an invitation to show one's true self, without fear of judgment or reprisal. It requires a level of courage to expose one's innermost thoughts and feelings, particularly in situations where vulnerability may leave someone feeling exposed. However, when both individuals are willing to be honest and transparent with one another, it fosters an environment of mutual respect and safety. This openness signals to the other person that you value the relationship enough to share not only your successes, but also your fears, doubts, and insecurities. It's not just about sharing the positives. It's about revealing the complexities of who you are, flaws and all. This kind of communication creates a deeper bond because it reflects a genuine, authentic connection. One where both parties feel free to be themselves, without pretending to be something they are not. Honesty is equally important in building trust. In any relationship, dishonesty or even half-truths can erode the trust that has been established over time. When people hide their true feelings, thoughts, or intentions, it creates a sense of uncertainty and doubt in the other person. This uncertainty can lead to suspicion, resentment, and ultimately a breakdown in the relationship. Even small lies or omissions can accumulate over time, slowly corroding the trust between individuals until it becomes irreparable. On the other hand, being forthright with one's intentions, desires, and concerns helps clear the air and prevent misunderstandings before they have a chance to grow. When you communicate with honesty, you show the other person that they can rely on you to be truthful, even when the truth is difficult to hear. Honest communication also creates an opportunity for conflict resolution. In any relationship, disagreements are inevitable. However, how those disagreements are handled often determines the strength of the relationship moving forward. When people communicate openly, they are better able to express their differences without resorting to passive, aggressive behavior, avoidance, or hostility. They can address the issue directly without fear of retribution or misunderstanding and work together to find a solution. This process not only resolves the immediate conflict, but also reinforces the trust between individuals because it shows that both parties can handle difficult conversations with respect and maturity. Avoiding difficult topics or pretending everything is fine when it's not only serves to prolong the issue and makes it harder to repair the relationship later. Moreover, open, honest communication encourages accountability. When both individuals are transparent in their thoughts and actions, they are more likely to hold themselves and each other accountable for their behaviors and decisions. Accountability fosters growth, as it requires both parties to acknowledge their role in any situation and take responsibility for their actions. This honesty allows for learning and improvement both individually and collectively. When people feel safe to admit mistakes without fear of judgment, it creates an atmosphere of understanding rather than blame. This mutual accountability strengthens the relationship because it reinforces the idea that both individuals are invested in each other's well-being and growth. In professional settings, the importance of open, honest communication cannot be overstated. Whether it's between colleagues, employees, or managers, clear communication is essential for collaboration and productivity. When communication is open, team members are able to share their ideas, offer feedback, and express concerns without fear of criticism or dismissal. This openness leads to better problem solving, innovation, and a sense of shared purpose. In contrast, when communication is stifled, whether due to fear of retribution, misunderstanding, or lack of trust, employees may feel disengaged, reluctant to contribute, or even resentful. This can lead to a toxic work environment where creativity and collaboration are stifled, and the team as a whole suffers. Open, honest communication not only improves individual performance, but it also strengthens the entire organization by ensuring that everyone is on the same page and working toward a common goal. In personal relationships, the importance of honesty is especially pronounced. When two people are truly open with one another, they create a sense of emotional security. They know that they can trust each other with their deepest thoughts and feelings, and that these expressions will be met with respect, care, and understanding. This trust is vital in romantic relationships, friendships, and family dynamics. Without it, individuals may feel isolated or unsupported, leading to emotional distance and disconnection. Open communication allows people to express their needs, desires, and boundaries without fear of rejection, while also creating space for the other person to do the same. It enables individuals to navigate challenges together rather than facing them alone. Furthermore, the willingness to communicate openly fosters empathy. When people are honest about their emotions and experiences, it allows the other person to see the situation from their perspective. This understanding strengthens the bond between individuals as they can empathize with each other's joys, struggles, and fears. Empathy is the key to building trust, as it shows that each person is attuned to the emotional needs of the other. When trust is present, both individuals feel safe in sharing their vulnerabilities, knowing that the other person will respond with compassion rather than judgment. When trust is established through open and honest communication, it creates a sense of security and stability in the relationship. Both individuals feel valued, heard, and understood, which fosters a deeper emotional connection. It becomes easier to navigate the complexities of life as both parties are willing to be honest about their thoughts, feelings, and needs. Trust allows individuals to lean on each other during difficult times and celebrate together during moments of joy. It creates a foundation that can withstand challenges, as both parties know that they can rely on each other to be open, honest, and supportive. Ultimately, open, honest communication is the key to building and maintaining trust in any relationship. It allows individuals to be vulnerable, express their true selves, and work through challenges together. It fosters accountability, empathy, and understanding, and creates a sense of emotional security that strengthens the bond between individuals. Trust, once established, becomes a powerful force that enables relationships to flourish and grow. Without it, relationships remain fragile, susceptible to miscommunication, resentment, and emotional distance. With it, however, relationships become deeper, more meaningful, and more resilient. Conversations used to be places where mutual respect, even in the face of disagreement, was the guiding principle. This foundation of respect allowed people to navigate differences of opinion with grace, understanding, and a willingness to listen and learn from each other. The ability to disagree without disrespecting one another is a lost art, and the value of this approach cannot be overstated. In a time when dialogue often becomes contentious and divisive, remembering how conversations once worked can serve as a powerful reminder of how much we can achieve through empathy, patience, and the recognition that everyone has a right to their perspective. One of the most defining characteristics of conversations rooted in mutual respect was the commitment to listening, truly listening to the other person. In the past, it was common for individuals to allow each other the space to speak their minds without interruption, to listen with the intent to understand rather than to respond. There was a recognition that even in moments of disagreement, the other person's opinion was valid and worthy of consideration. It wasn't about winning the argument, but about engaging in a meaningful exchange of ideas. People understood that a person's experiences, upbringing, and perspective shaped their point of view, and that respect for those factors was a crucial part of any conversation. The goal was not to defeat the other person's argument, but to engage with it thoughtfully, to ask questions, and to gain insight into their reasoning. This mutual respect allowed people to express differing viewpoints without feeling the need to attack or belittle the other person. Disagreements were seen as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than threats to one's ego or worldview. People didn't view a differing opinion as a personal affront. Instead, they saw it as a chance to understand a different perspective and broaden their own thinking. Even when emotions ran high or the conversation became heated, there was an unspoken understanding that personal attacks and insults had no place in the exchange. Disagreement didn't mean disrespect, it meant a deeper exploration of differing ideas and experiences, with the acknowledgement that everyone's truth was shaped by their own unique journey. In these conversations, there was also a greater emphasis on the importance of tone and body language. People were mindful of how they communicated, aware that the way something was said was just as important as what was said. Tone could either diffuse tension or escalate conflict, and many individuals were skilled at navigating these subtleties to ensure that even in disagreement, the conversation remained productive and respectful. Body language was also an essential part of communication, and people understood that nonverbal cues could either strengthen the message or undermine it. Eye contact, open posture, and active listening conveyed an unspoken message of respect, signaling to the other person that they were being heard and valued, even if there was disagreement. Another significant element of conversations built on mutual respect was the ability to disagree without insisting on immediate resolution. There was an understanding that not all differences of opinion could be resolved in a single conversation, and that it was okay to walk away without coming to an agreement. The focus wasn't on forcing consensus, but on understanding each other's points of view and respecting the space between differing opinions. People didn't feel the need to convince others that their way was the right way. They were content to share their perspective, listen to others, and leave the conversation with their relationship intact, regardless of whether they saw eye to eye. This sense of patience and tolerance was vital in maintaining relationships, as it prevented the frustration of feeling as though every conversation needed to end with complete agreement or compromise. Moreover, conversations based on mutual respect were marked by a sense of humility. People understood that no one had all the answers, and that their perspective was just one piece of the puzzle. In these exchanges, there was a recognition that everyone had something to contribute, and that wisdom could be found in places one might not expect. Even in moments of disagreement, individuals were open to the possibility that they might not have all the facts, or that their understanding could evolve as they listened to others. This humility allowed for growth, as it kept conversations from becoming rigid or combative. Instead of seeking to defend one's own position at all costs, there was an openness to learning, to shifting one's viewpoint, or at least to seeing the situation from a different angle. One of the most powerful aspects of these conversations was the empathy that underpinned them. People had a deep sense of empathy for one another, recognizing that everyone came to the table with their own struggles, triumphs, and emotional baggage. This empathy allowed for a greater sense of understanding, especially in moments of disagreement. When someone expressed a viewpoint that was different from one's own, the natural response was not to dismiss them as wrong, but to try to understand where they were coming from. Why did they feel that way? What experiences shaped their perspective? This curiosity and willingness to see the world through the other person's eyes helped foster respect, even when there was no agreement. In many ways, it was the empathetic recognition of another's humanity that allowed people to navigate difficult conversations with respect and care. Even when disagreements were deeply rooted in core beliefs or values, conversations built on mutual respect maintained a level of decency and dignity. People understood that just because someone disagreed with them didn't mean they were enemies or adversaries. Differences in opinion were seen as a natural part of human interaction, not something that needed to be erased in order for the relationship to be maintained. In these conversations, there was a commitment to preserving the dignity of the other person, even in the midst of a passionate debate. People understood that their relationships with one another were more important than winning an argument, and that respect for the person mattered more than the outcome of the discussion. What set these conversations apart was the belief that relationships were worth preserving even when there was disagreement. People understood that disagreeing didn't have to mean disconnecting. They valued the relationship above being right, and they made space for differences of opinion without letting those differences define or destroy the bond between them. In the end, conversations rooted in mutual respect allowed individuals to navigate the complexities of human connection with grace, patience, and a deep appreciation for one another, even in the midst of disagreement. As society has evolved, the art of respectful conversation has often been overshadowed by a culture of polarization and outrage. Yet the lessons from earlier times remain relevant and essential today. The ability to disagree without disrespecting each other, to maintain mutual respect even in the face of differing views, is a skill that can strengthen relationships, build understanding, and foster a more harmonious society. It's a skill worth rediscovering, especially when it feels like division is growing in many areas of life. Respectful conversations are the foundation for finding common ground, even when our beliefs diverge, and they hold the potential to heal rifts and bridge divides in ways that forceful arguments never will. In a world increasingly dominated by digital communication, face-to-face conversations have become more important than ever. While technology has made it easier to stay connected, it has also introduced a paradox. We are more connected than ever before, but the quality of those connections often falls short. Text messages, emails, and social media interactions may be quick and convenient, but they lack the richness, depth, and emotional resonance that come with in-person conversations. Face-to-face communication is a powerful tool that fosters a level of connection, empathy, and understanding that simply cannot be replicated by a screen. Now more than ever, it is crucial to prioritize direct, in-person interactions because they promote genuine connection, improve the quality of communication, and nurture meaningful relationships in ways that virtual communication cannot. One of the most fundamental reasons why face-to-face conversations matter is the level of human connection they facilitate. When we engage with someone in person, we are able to connect on a deeper emotional level. Body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice all play a significant role in communication, providing context and nuance that are often lost in written or digital exchanges. A smile, a gesture, or a subtle change in tone can convey empathy, humor, concern, or joy in ways that words alone cannot. In face-to-face interactions, we pick up on these cues instinctively, which helps us better understand the emotions behind the words. This emotional connection builds rapport and fosters a sense of trust, which is essential for any meaningful relationship, whether personal or professional. Moreover, face-to-face conversations allow for a level of immediacy and responsiveness that is not always possible with digital communication. When we are physically present with someone, we can respond to their words in real time, addressing concerns, answering questions, or clarifying misunderstandings instantly. This immediacy prevents the delays and miscommunications that can arise in text-based communication, where messages can be misunderstood, misinterpreted, or even ignored. In face-to-face conversations, we are fully engaged with the other person, actively listening and responding in the moment. This kind of interaction builds rapport and fosters a sense of connection that is often lost when communication is mediated through technology. Another critical aspect of face-to-face communication is its ability to promote active listening. In today's fast-paced world, it is easy to become distracted by the constant stream of notifications, emails, and messages that flood our devices. When we communicate digitally, it is all too easy to check our phones or multitask, diluting the quality of the conversation and reducing the attention we give to the other person. In contrast, face-to-face interactions require undivided attention. There is no option to scroll through social media or respond to an incoming text while someone is speaking. When we are physically present with someone, we are more likely to give them our full attention, listening not only to their words, but also to their body language and emotional cues. This focused attention enhances the quality of communication and ensures that both parties feel heard, understood, and valued. Face-to-face conversations also foster a sense of accountability that is often absent in digital interactions. When communicating through text or email, it is easy to hide behind a screen, avoiding direct confrontation or evading difficult conversations. It is tempting to say things in writing that we might not have the courage to say in person, or to avoid addressing sensitive topics altogether. However, in a face-to-face conversation, the presence of the other person creates a natural sense of responsibility to engage honestly and respectfully. The physical presence of another human being serves as a reminder that our words have weight and that the impact of what we say extends beyond the digital world. This sense of accountability ensures that conversations are more meaningful, productive, and respectful, as both parties are more likely to approach the exchange with sincerity and care. Beyond the immediacy and accountability that face-to-face conversations provide, there is also a significant benefit in terms of building and strengthening relationships. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues, are built on trust and understanding, both of which are fostered through direct communication. The more we engage with others in person, the more opportunities we have to connect on a deeper level, share experiences, and learn from one another. Shared moments, such as a simple conversation over coffee or a face-to-face check-in with a colleague, create a bond that digital interactions cannot replicate. These interactions are opportunities to build trust, show empathy, and reinforce the emotional connection that is essential for healthy relationships. In the workplace, face-to-face communication is especially valuable for fostering collaboration and teamwork. While emails and video calls can be useful tools for sharing information, they cannot replace the dynamic nature of in-person meetings. When colleagues meet face-to-face, they can engage in more fluid discussions, brainstorm ideas, and resolve conflicts in real time. Nonverbal cues such as facial expressions and body language provide valuable context for understanding one another's emotions, intentions, and reactions. These cues help to prevent misunderstandings and ensure that everyone is on the same page. Additionally, in-person conversations allow for more spontaneous interactions, such as impromptu brainstorming sessions or casual conversations that spark new ideas. These types of exchanges are difficult to replicate in a virtual environment, where interactions are often more formal and structured. Perhaps one of the most powerful reasons why face-to-face conversations matter is the sense of belonging and human connection they provide. In today's digital age, it is easy to feel isolated despite the constant online interaction. Social media platforms often give the illusion of connection, but they can also leave us feeling empty and disconnected. The likes, comments, and shares we receive online cannot replace the warmth and intimacy of an in-person conversation. When we engage with others face-to-face, we experience a sense of connection that goes beyond words. The simple act of sharing space with another person, of sitting down together and engaging in meaningful conversation, creates a sense of community and belonging that is essential for our well-being. This human connection is vital for mental and emotional health, as it reminds us that we are not alone in the world. Face-to-face conversations also offer a unique opportunity for personal growth and development. In these interactions, we are exposed to new perspectives, ideas, and experiences that challenge our thinking and broaden our horizons. When we engage with others in person, we are more likely to have honest and open conversations that push us to consider different viewpoints, ask difficult questions, and expand our understanding of the world around us. These exchanges help to sharpen our communication skills, build our emotional intelligence, and deepen our empathy, all of which are essential for personal growth and self-awareness. In a world that is becoming increasingly reliant on digital communication, face-to-face conversations are more important than ever. They provide an opportunity for genuine connection, active listening, and mutual understanding, fostering relationships that are built on trust, empathy, and respect. In-person interactions allow for immediate, real-time communication where nonverbal cues and emotional context can be fully appreciated. They promote accountability, strengthen relationships, and offer a sense of belonging that is difficult to replicate in the digital realm. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, it is essential to recognize the value of face-to-face conversations and make a conscious effort to engage with others in person. The power of human connection is something that technology cannot replace, and it is through these direct interactions that we build the relationships and communities that are the foundation of a meaningful life. In a world that seems to be speeding up with the constant buzz of notifications, the quick exchange of texts, and the instant nature of our online interactions, we've lost touch with something incredibly powerful: deep, meaningful conversations. In a society that is always moving, always connected, we often forget the importance of slowing down and truly engaging with one another. The art of having a conversation that goes beyond the surface, that connects us on a profound level, has become rarer. But it is more important now than ever before. We need to bring these conversations back into our daily lives, not just because they are enjoyable or fulfilling, but because they are essential for our mental and emotional well-being, for building strong relationships, and for creating a society rooted in empathy and understanding. We are living in an age where convenience and speed dominate. Texting, social media, and emails have revolutionized the way we communicate, allowing us to send and receive messages at lightning speed. But as convenient as these methods of communication may be, they have their limitations. They often reduce communication to mere exchanges of information without allowing the depth of feeling, thought, or connection that comes from truly engaging with someone face to face. In the midst of this digital overload, we've forgotten how to have the kind of conversations that allow us to explore the complexities of life, to share our fears, our joys, our dreams, and our struggles in a meaningful way. There is a unique power in deep, meaningful conversations. They allow us to connect with others in a way that surface-level interactions simply cannot. When we engage in these conversations, we open ourselves up to vulnerability, and through that vulnerability, we build trust and understanding. It's in these moments that we learn the most about the people around us, not just the facts about their lives, but the inner workings of their hearts and minds. These conversations give us insight into their values, their passions, their struggles, and their triumphs. They create a bond that goes beyond small talk and pleasantries and instead foster a connection that is real, authentic, and lasting. What makes these conversations meaningful is the way they allow us to truly listen to one another. In our fast-paced world, it is so easy to become distracted and to listen with the intent to respond rather than to truly understand. We often find ourselves waiting for our turn to speak, ready with our own thoughts, opinions, or advice. But deep, meaningful conversations require something different: an active commitment to listening, to being present, and to taking the time to fully understand the other person's perspective. This type of listening requires us to put aside our own thoughts and preconceptions, to give the other person the space to speak freely, and to hear them without judgment. When we listen in this way, we not only hear the words they say, but we also pick up on the emotions behind those words, the feelings that often go unspoken. This level of listening builds trust and creates a sense of safety where both parties feel comfortable sharing their truth. In bringing deep conversations back into our daily lives, we also bring empathy back into our interactions. We live in a world where people are often quick to judge, to categorize, or to assume they understand another person's experience. But when we engage in meaningful conversation, We step into the other person's shoes and see the world from their perspective. This empathy allows us to connect on a human level rather than through the lens of our differences. It helps us to break down the walls that divide us, whether those walls are ideological, cultural, or personal, and instead find common ground in our shared humanity. By listening deeply and engaging with one another in a genuine way, we can begin to bridge the divides that so often separate us, fostering a greater sense of unity and understanding in our communities. It's important to recognize that deep, meaningful conversations aren't just about discussing grand ideas or profound topics. They are also about the small, intimate moments that allow us to connect with others on a personal level. Sometimes it's about sharing a quiet moment of reflection or simply asking someone how they're really doing and taking the time to listen to their response. It's about being present in the moment, letting go of distractions, and showing the other person that you value their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. These small moments of connection are what build the foundation for strong, lasting relationships, whether with family, friends, or coworkers. It's the depth of the conversations that allow us to truly understand each other and grow together. In addition to strengthening our personal relationships, deep, meaningful conversations also have the power to enrich our own lives. When we engage in these types of dialogues, we open ourselves up to new ideas and perspectives that challenge our own thinking. These conversations have the potential to help us grow and evolve, to see the world through a different lens, and to question the assumptions we hold. They inspire us to think more critically, to reflect more deeply, and to engage more authentically with the world around us. It's in these moments that we discover new truths about ourselves, about others, and about the world we live in. We expand our understanding of the human experience, and in doing so, we become better, more compassionate individuals. In a time when it's so easy to hide behind a screen or retreat into our digital worlds, we must remember that the most powerful connections happen when we engage with one another face to face. There is something irreplaceable about the energy and intimacy that come from being in the same space with another person. The simple act of sitting down together and having a conversation, free from the distractions of technology, allows us to connect in a way that is not possible through a screen. It is in these moments that we can truly show up for each other, listen with our full attention, and engage in a dialogue that fosters understanding, empathy, and connection. These types of conversations are not only enriching for our relationships, but they are essential for our mental and emotional well-being. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles and triumphs, and they help us navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity and confidence. So, as we continue to navigate the noise and distractions of our modern world, let's make a conscious effort to bring deep, meaningful conversations back into our lives. Let's take the time to slow down, to listen, and to truly connect with the people around us. Let's prioritize these interactions over the quick transactional exchanges that have become the norm. The world may be moving faster than ever, but the value of slowing down to engage in a real conversation is immeasurable. In these conversations, we find connection, understanding, and growth, qualities that are essential for a fulfilling and meaningful life. Let's make space for these moments, and in doing so, we will create relationships and communities that are stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient. But let's take a step back. Let's remember what it felt like to have a conversation that left you thinking, to sit with a friend, with family, with someone who challenged your perspective, not to argue, but to understand, to listen, really listen, not just to respond, but to feel what the other person is saying. We used to do that. We used to talk about dreams, about struggles, about life. And when we disagreed, we didn't cut people off. We leaned in, we asked questions, we learned from each other. So I ask you again, can we talk? Can we put down the distractions and pick up where we left off? Because if we can do that, if we can bring back the kind of conversations that build bridges instead of walls, then maybe, just maybe, we can find our way back to something real. The choice is ours. The time is now. Let's talk.